Hello everyone! Welcome to the MudRoom, our weekly free and live Uncommon Sense parenting class. How is everyone today? I had a great day. I talked to some new agencies about running some new in-person workshops. I went to my son's school council meeting, and y'all, now this may be this may be too much information, but my husband finally started tiling our kitchen backsplash. We started renovating our kitchen 4 years ago, and the one thing that has sat undone is my kitchen backsplash. It has been driving me absolutely insane. So he finally got around to it. 4 years I've been waiting for this day, and I'm so excited. The amount of stress that stupid backsplash has been causing me it's ridiculous. But I am so glad that it is finally getting done. Hey, Nicola! Thank you for being here with me. All right, so before we jump in here, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Allana Robinson, and I'm a parenting effectiveness coach. I work with parents of toddlers, preschoolers, and kindergartners to understand why their children are misbehaving and how to fix it without yelling, shaming, or using timeouts. So, for those of you who aren't aware, twice a month in Parentability, which is my group coaching membership program where I help parents understand why their children are misbehaving and how to build the skills to stop it, we have group coaching calls. These are my absolute favorite days of the month. This is actually the first month that we've done it twice. Before September, we just did it like once a month, but I enjoy it so much that I bumped it up to twice a month. But anyways, so twice a month, anyone who wants to talk to me one-to-one, we all jump on a group video call, so everybody's there together, and then I just have like quick 15 to 20 minute check-ins with absolutely everyone on the call, and they ask questions they have about their child's behavior, what resources they should be using, I don't know, what color lipstick I'm wearing on a particular day, really absolutely anything. They're super, super casual. I just love it. There are very few calls that don't feature either an acred child or someone who just rolled out of bed. It's just absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love it. Anyways, why am I telling you this? Because I had a really interesting conversation with a dad on our last call, and I'm not going to go into specifics so that there's no identifying details, but the basic gist of what we were talking about was that his son was stressed by a request the dad had made. And then he made an unsuccessful attempt at attacking dad. And then he started making all these demands for things like a podcast and food and board games and all sorts of stuff. And dad was really struggling because rationally, he knew that his son likely needed those things to calm his nervous system and bring his rational thinking brain areas back into the picture. But he was also very limbic because he just had an attack attempt put on him, right? It was unsuccessful, but the attempt was made. And even though dad was trying to calm down, he just couldn't bring himself to quote unquote give in. And this is a fear that I hear so often from parents, moms and dads. Grandparents often have this concern as well, that by giving a child what they need to regulate, that they're creating an entitlement, that their kids are going to grow up expecting that people will give them what they want if they just put up enough of a fuss. So does that ring true for anyone here? That you can't seem to just give over and go all in on skill building because when you're in red brain, when you feel affronted, you don't want to give an inch because that will surrender your position as the authority, maybe? Hands up in the comments or drop me a turkey leg or something if that describes you. Because we need to change that because it's not true. And throughout our conversation, I was like, oh my God, everybody needs to hear this. So know that as we go through this, I'm not speaking to Dad. Dad and I have already had our chat. We're on the same page. We're all good there. This is for everybody else. Nicola says, yes, it is a major shift. And I know. And everybody's having it. So many people are having it. Okay, so first things first. We need to establish one thing. And that is, do you care about how they do it? Or do you want to get the thing done? What exactly is your expectation? That things be done your way and on your timetable? Or that the thing actually get done? If you want your child to clean up, what is more important to you? That they clean up quickly and in silence, or that the things get put away? I find that taking that second to reflect on what your actual expectation is really helps to put things into perspective. Because here's the thing. If being right is most important to you, nothing is going to get done. When your child is in a limbic state, which, if you're new around here, that means that they're irrational and emotional and that they cannot use reason. So if your child is in a limbic state and you push to have things done your way, your child is going to dig in their heels. They're going to become more irrational and emotional because they feel attacked. When you're in a limbic state, the part of your brain that learns, that uses reason and logic, it's being deprived of resources because it's not necessary for survival. So when we aren't regulated, meaning that both of those parts of our brains are pulling the same amount of weight, it doesn't matter what makes sense on a logical level. We're preoccupied with sensing if we're in danger. And sensing is just a feeling, it's instinctual. So if they feel like they can't do something the way you're dictating that it be done, is not getting done. No matter how physically capable of it that they may be. However, if your focus is on getting it done, well then that gives us more options, doesn't it? And in this case, his son was asking for some very concrete things, right? A podcast, food, and a board game. Okay, so one of those things isn't actually mutually exclusive to picking up after yourself, is it? If listening to a podcast while cleaning up is going to help calm his nervous system enough to bring his neocortex back online and do the cleaning, who cares? Your expectation that the cleaning happen is being met. That's not giving in. That's helping him. That's supporting him in reaching your goal. This is why cleanup songs are so effective, because they engage that red limbic brain. They engage you on an emotional level. It helps to calm you down. It helps you to set shift. And that frees up your blue neocortex to do the task. Now on the flip side, eating and playing a board game don't really work well with cleaning up. But eating is one of those basic 3 physical needs that cannot be ignored at any time, right? They aren't wants, they're needs. If you're hungry, ain't nothing happening. Eating, sleeping, eliminating. If you need any one of those 3 basic things, it doesn't matter how calm you are, you're not going to be regulated. So if music or a podcast isn't enough to regulate them, you might just have to stick a pin in it for a few minutes and get some food into them. And again, that isn't giving in, it's creating the conditions for your expectations to be met. Because I don't know about you, but putting it in an adult context, if I had just finished with something and I was about to have a snack when my husband walked in and was like, no, clean up this mess first and then you can eat, I would be like, excuse me? Slow your roll. I'll clean it up after I've had my snack, buddy. Thank you very much. I'm hungry. So why is it different with our kids? Yes, we're their parents, but that doesn't mean that our needs or our wants in this case supersede theirs. As long as our expectations get met, what is the obsession with controlling every aspect of the how? Meeting emotional and physical needs isn't entitlement, that's the basics. Needing to be calm and alert before taking care of other people's priorities, other people's tasks, isn't entitlement, that's the basics. And in fact, if we started honoring this with our children more, maybe we would have less of a difficult time maintaining that baseline for ourselves too. Because that's the bottom line. We aren't getting rid of the expectation. They aren't getting out of it. We're not giving in. We're just pausing it to take care of the big emotional stuff first, to create the conditions. The necessities of life: hunger, elimination, safety, sleep. Those are the 4 basic needs. And if they aren't being met, then ain't nothing happening anyways. And then, as I've always said before, when aggression happens, we're going to make sure that everyone is calm, safe, and secure before addressing it. Because we can't reason with people who aren't calm, safe, and secure. So maybe that discussion happens while playing the board game. Or at another neutral time. And then at a completely neutral time, separate from the incident, we're going to work on beefing up those executive skills so that they're not sucking so much energy, so that they can still use them even when they're low on energy, when they're stressed, and they don't go offline quite so quickly. So does that sound like entitlement? The mess got cleaned, the stomach got fed, the aggression was addressed. It doesn't to me. Hey, Natalie! Oh, that's okay. I'm glad you're here. Nicola says, it feels like rewarding bad behavior initially, but it works. Exactly. Because all of this is to say, how you view a situation has a huge influence on how the situation plays out. If you can recognize which part of their brain they're using and tailor your response to work with it, boom, expectations get met, life goes on. So if you're struggling to figure all of that out and exactly how it works with your kids, because these are the general theories, but every person is different. We all kind of fit in the box, but we're not necessarily filling out all the corners, if you get me. So if you're struggling to figure it all out and you want some guidance, you've got 2 options. First, you can join the Parenting Posse, which is my free Facebook parenting group. Second, you're invited to take my misbehavior proof class, which goes more in depth on the skills that I mentioned. And third, you're invited to join us in Parentability for personalized support. And the links for all of those things are in the description box. So what do you think? There's a bunch of you watching. What do you think? Do you get the difference between being entitled and asking for what you need so that you can be calm and alert and engage rationally? Can you see how meeting your child halfway, calming them down first, and then returning to the expectation is actually faster than locking horns and engaging in a battle of wills that will generally end up with a lot of anger and frustration? I know it seems like a lot, right? You're like, most of the time, parents, their big objection is, I don't have time for this. I got shit to do. And I get it. I get it. From the outside, that sounds like it's going to take a lot of time. But when you take into account the amount of time you spend yelling, coercing them, bribing them, asking them to come and do something, hand over hand, pulling them back, it actually takes way less time overall. I got some comments. Okay. Jerome. Hey, Jerome. Jerome says he's been working on that, but recently have gotten the reply of, "You're not the boss of me," so trying to give him options. Exactly. Options are always an excellent thing. That is why, so the third step? Yeah. The third step of the LCP is always give options. Do you want to do it this way or do you want to do it that way? Because having ownership over what you're doing, that's a big thing for kids. They don't get to control a whole lot. So giving them just a little bit more power, often, that is the golden key. They still need to be calm, though, before you do the LCP, because the LCP appeals to the rational, logical, critical thinking part of the brain. If they're in a limbic state and you try to LCP them, it's not going to work at all. Natalie says she sees it, but in practice it's a little different, but I'm starting to see a little bit of progress. Yes, and it does. Don't get me wrong, when you first start prioritizing skills over being right, over your priorities, over punishment, it's going to feel like you are giving them a mile, right? It's going to feel like they're getting away with a lot. But that's why I say, take a step back in that moment, really, really focus on what is my expectation? What am I actually hoping is going to happen here? Because often we start engaging with our kids and we don't actually know what the outcome that we're hoping for is, which sounds ridiculous, but it's so true. Often we're just like, I just want them to do what I told them to do. Okay, that's the abstract expectation. What is the physical expectation? What do you actually want to happen? What is your priority here? And if you can focus on that and kind of let all the other noise go and just focus on, okay, this is the expectation. This is what needs to get done. I might have to stick a pin in it and help them calm down, but then we can come back to it. It really does work. I promise. Give it a try. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here with me this evening. I will see you again next week for another Uncommon Sense parenting class. Bye.